You ever work a job where the rules make less sense the longer you stay? Yeah, me too. My name's Jake. Well, that's what my name tag says, and I've been working the Walmart night shift for about 2 years now. When I first started, I thought it would be a straightforward gig. You know, just stacking cereal boxes, restocking shelves, and dealing with the occasional drunk customer who thinks it's a good idea to ask for a discount on a half-eaten sandwich. Simple, right? But then, the rules started changing. And not in the new management way. More like the did they just say that way. At first, I was excited. The night shift had its perks. Fewer customers, a quieter atmosphere, and the chance to listen to my favorite podcasts while I worked. But as the weeks turned into months, I began to notice that the rules were becoming increasingly bizarre. It was like I had stepped into a parallel universe where logic took a back seat. One night, I overheard Greg from Produce telling a customer that we had to keep the lights dimmed because the ghosts prefer it that way. I thought he was joking until I saw the look on the customer's face. She nodded like it made perfect sense. Then there was the infamous no talking to the mannequins rule. I mean, who even comes up with that? I laughed it off until I caught myself having a full-blown conversation with one while restocking clothes. I swear it winked at me. So here I am, 2 years in, navigating a world where the rules are as unpredictable as the customers. Each night brings a new set of challenges, and I can't help but wonder what strange rule will pop up next. Welcome to my life on the night shift at Walmart, where the only constant is the absurdity. Picture this, 2 a.m. The parking lot's a ghost town, except for my beat-up Civic and the flickering fluorescent sign that's needed a new bulb since, honestly, before I was born. Inside, it's just me, the endless rows of empty shopping carts, and that weird hum the lights make, like they're as exhausted as I am. The main floor that was a battlefield of screaming kids and coupon clippers 7 hours ago, now it's so quiet you can hear the rustle of a Doritos bag from 3 aisles over. My only company most nights, Greg from Produce, who swears on his life he once saw a ghost in the dairy freezer, had an employee badge from 1998, Jake. And Brenda, who's been working here since before the Clinton administration and might actually be part of the building's foundation by now. Oh, and let's not forget our regulars. The guy who buys nothing but bananas at 3:17 a.m. every Tuesday. The woman who tests every chapstick before buying one, during a pandemic no less. And my personal favorite, the dude who once spent 20 minutes debating with a self-checkout machine about the morality of sales tax. You haven't lived until you've watched a grown man whisper yell at a cashier-less register under those headache-inducing lights, pal. The real magic happens when the PA system crackles to life at 4 a.m. with some cryptic message like cleanup in automotive, and we all know damn well no customer's been near automotive since yesterday. It's just Linda, the night manager, testing our alertness. Or, as Greg insists, they're sending coded messages to the mannequins. That's my office, a liminal space where time doesn't exist, the rules make less sense by the hour, and the frozen pizza section becomes a philosophical battleground. Welcome to the witching hour at Wally World. Rule 1. The back room isn't on the map. Let me tell you about the first rule that made me realize this job wasn't going to be normal, the backroom policy. On paper, it sounds reasonable enough. Always verify backroom inventory before clocking out. Standard retail stuff. But here's the thing nobody tells you during orientation. Our backroom plays by its own rules. Some nights you'll push through those swinging doors, and it's exactly what you expect. Pallets of inventory, the smell of cardboard, the broken floor scanner that beeps randomly like it's communicating in Morse code. Other nights? Well, last Tuesday I walked in and the entire layout had changed. What used to be the seasonal section was suddenly a narrow corridor that dead-ended at a concrete wall with fresh paint. No new construction orders, no memos about renovations. Just different. Brenda calls it Schrodinger's stockroom. Depends who's observing it, she says while sipping her third Mountain Dew of the shift. She claims she once saw a door there that led to an entire second store. Same Walmart layout, but all the employees wore 1980s uniforms. Personally, I think she might be confusing reality with that time she mixed up her blood pressure meds with melatonin gummies. But who knows? The real kicker came last Thursday when I was doing my final walkthrough. Found this ancient cardboard box tucked behind some old Halloween decorations, which is weird because it's March. The label read, "Do Not Touch, 1987, in that old school matrix printer font. Inside, 5 pristine Walmart vests complete with those wide 70s style collars, still in plastic wrapping. No inventory record, no reason for them to be there. Just hanging out behind a pallet of discounted Valentine's candy like they'd been waiting 35 years for someone to find them. Now here's the strange part. When I came back 30 minutes later with Greg to show him, the box was gone. Not moved, gone. The Halloween stuff was exactly where I'd left it, but no trace of the vintage vests. Manager said she hadn't seen it. Brenda winked like she knew a secret, and Greg just muttered something about time folds before going back to stacking cantaloupes. So yeah, first rule of Night Shift Club, the back room exists until it doesn't. You're welcome to look for explanations, but after 11 months of this, I've learned it's better to just nod, log whatever you saw in the inventory system. They never check those reports anyway, and pretend it makes sense until sunrise. Rule 2, the mannequins are watching. Let's talk about the mannequins, because apparently, in the grand philosophy of Walmart's Night Shift, they are senior management. See, we've got this rule, right? Never turn your back on the mannequins. Sounds like bad horror movie advice until you realize, oh wait, Greg from Produce legitimately saw one move. And I'm not talking about that time the air conditioning kicked on too hard and tipped over Disco Dave in seasonal. No, this was conscious movement. Slow, deliberate head turning. The kind of thing you'd expect in a Blumhouse film, not apparel, aisle 12. Now, you might laugh, but try closing up at 3 a.m. and realizing Jeff from menswear was facing the opposite direction 5 minutes ago. You think, maybe I imagined it. Then you glance back, and yep, he's leaning forward now. Just a little, like he's listening. Brenda says it's 'cause Walmart mannequins are soulless husks absorbing retail despair, which sounds poetic until you remember she once duct taped a Santa hat to one and called it team building. Greg thinks they're possessed by former employees. That's why they're all wearing name tags, Jake. Look, that one's Todd from 2007. Me? I don't think anything. Mostly 'cause I refuse to acknowledge the one in women's activewear who always ends up pointing at the emergency exit. So now, Night Shift's got a game. Mannequin or night manager? Spotting the difference between Jeff, who creepily resembles that guy from HR, and, say, actual Jeff, who creepily resembles a mannequin from HR. You learn real quick to 1. Blink first, dominance asserted. 2. Apologize if you bump into one, just in case. 3. Never whisper, "I see you," near housewares. That's how Greg got locked in the stockroom for an hour. The verdict? They're probably just normal, inanimate, legally not alive retail props. Probably. But if you ever find yourself alone in sporting goods and hear hangers rattling with no draft, run. The only thing scarier than an overnight Walmart is the merch that watches you work. And yes, we counted them at shift change. Always one extra. Rule 3. The break room microwave is sentient. Let me tell you about the third member of our night shift crew, the break room microwave. This isn't your ordinary reheating appliance. This is a violently beige, decade-old machine that's developed what Brenda calls opinions about our midnight snacks. The official rule reads, if unit beeps more than twice, disconnect power immediately. Sounds like overkill until you've witnessed what we call a microwave event. First incident happened back in June. Normal Thursday night. Greg was warming up his gas station taquitos when the microwave suddenly went full Whitney Houston at 2:37 a.m. Not just the melody from I Will Always Love You, but like someone had loaded the entire Dolly Parton Greatest Hits album into its circuitry at 104 decibels through broken speakers that somehow made it sound like it was singing underwater. Maintenance's solution? Yeah, Larry, that's the microwave, gets moody. Try not to make direct eye contact when he's heating up fish. Then came the time it started rejecting certain foods. Not like this won't cook, more like actively sabotaging meals. My chicken nuggets somehow came out both frozen and charred last week, while simultaneously displaying, "Are you serious?" where the timer should be. Brenda's Hot Pockets occasionally finish cooking with perfect grill marks forming rude symbols. And don't get me started on how it reacts to diet meals. Last time someone tried heating a salad, Larry actually turned itself off and displayed LOL in the display window. We've developed rituals to appease it. 1. Always knock before opening. 2. Never set exact times. Only plus 30 seconds button. 3. Rotating donut tribute. Boston cream preferred. 4. Referring to it exclusively as Sir, the weirdest part. Inventory shows this microwave was replaced in 2019. Yet here it sits. Same dents. Same suspicious stain on the keypad. Same mysterious ability to make cold coffee boil in 12 seconds flat. Corporate claims it's standard issue, but I've seen the way new hires' Hot Pockets mysteriously eject themselves at 3 a.m. like Olympian shot puts. Honestly, at this point, I'm convinced it's either A. Walmart Skynet in early development, B. Haunted by a very specific ghost who really hates lean cuisines, C. Somehow reading our employee handbook and mocking us either way. I've accepted that somewhere between stocking shelves and evading mannequins, my graveyard shift includes negotiating with kitchen appliances. If you ever hear a Walmart microwave whisper burn when you hit start, run. Just run. Rule 4. Midnight shift equals free therapy. If Walmart days are organized chaos, then the midnight shift is the island of misfit customers, a surreal parade of insomniacs, cryptids, and individuals who clearly lost a bet. Our unwritten rule: never ask why they're here. Because once you do, you risk unlocking conversations no amount of employee discount can erase. Take the philosopher, for instance. Dude once spent 37 minutes crouched in snacks, staring at a bag of flamin' hot Cheetos before whispering, "Do snacks even want to be eaten?" Then there's the conspiracy buff, the guy who cornered me near electronics to explain, in meticulous detail, how the government was using powdered orange drink mix to tag the population. His proof? Why else would they call it TANG? It's short for Tracking and Navigation Grid. But my all-time MVP? The used toothbrush guy. 3:16 a.m. Dead silent. This absolute legend rocks up to customer service holding a toothbrush still glistening with something. Slams it on the counter. "I'd like to return this." Brenda, our resident return desk warlord, barely glances up. Reason? Too abrasive. "Sir," she says, "there's still bristle debris." Man doesn't even blink. That's how I knew it didn't work. "Now where's your dental hygiene survey?" I have notes. Enter Linda, our night manager, who takes one look at the forensic evidence and delivers the immortal line. "Sir, this is Walmart, not a crime scene." She then proceeds to process the return while maintaining the same energy as a DMV employee stamping divorce papers. The unspoken rules of midnight shoppers. 1. Eye contact equals invitation to confess. Avoid unless you're ready to hear about someone's alien abduction/candle addiction. 2. Never acknowledge the bathrobe people. They want you to ask. Don't. 3. You having a good night? Is a trap question. The answer is always a 27-minute manifesto. 4. If someone asks where the lost and found souls section is, just point to aisle 13. Final verdict? Midnight Walmart isn't retail, it's anthropologic research. These people? They're either post-midnight clarity warriors, fugitives from their own life choices, demons testing human patience for sport, and honestly, I respect it. Now if you'll excuse me, there's a man in the freezer section explaining to a bag of peas why capitalism is a pyramid scheme. Duty calls. Rule 5. The forbidden aisle, aka the upside down. Every Walmart has that aisle. The one that appears on no store map, vanishes when corporate does inventory checks, and stocks merchandise that defies both logic and the space-time continuum. Officially, aisle 13 doesn't exist. Unofficially, It appears between housewares and pets when it feels like it, packed with abandoned nostalgia and cursed objects like some retail purgatory. A pyramid of VHS copies of Mac and me covered in 1992 price stickers, $5.99, firm. A lone Tamagotchi still beeping faintly under a pile of flip phones. A single, fully assembled canoe with property of Camp Nowhere carved into the side. 2,000 floppy disks labeled Doom, but funnier. The rule: never scan items from aisle 13. Not because they won't ring up, but because they do. And whatever system processes them. It ain't Walmart's. Case in point. Last month, some guy in a trench coat, red flag 1, bought a mystery box from aisle 13. We all watched. Brenda, Greg, me. Even Larry the microwave went silent as he dragged it to checkout. Scan it. Error. Manual entry? Item not found. Then suddenly, beep. The screen flashed. Paid in full, thank you, smiling face, no price. No transaction log. Just accepted. We never saw him again. Other aisle 13 phenomena. The light flickers like a horror movie set, unless you stare directly at it. Then, full brightness, like it's aware. The stock rotates nightly. Monday, typewriters. Tuesday, a crate of unmarked mayonnaise jars. Wednesday, an entire carousel horse. The sound, distant circus music playing from nowhere. Brenda swears it's the Walmart theme song, in reverse. Corporate insists it's a coding error. Maintenance calls it a glitch in the dimensional stockroom. Linda? She tapes a sign over it every week. Aisle temporarily removed. But by midnight, gone. Final theory? Aisle 13 is where Walmart stashes failed 90s products that refuse to die. Objects that escaped from other stores. Aisles 13. Maybe the concept of loss prevention itself. So if you're shopping at 3 a.m. and see an aisle that wasn't there before, don't. Just grab your peanut butter, nod at the canoe like this is normal, and walk away. Some mysteries aren't worth the employee discount. Unless you're into sentient microwaves. Then hey, we're hiring. Rule 6. The night manager's special instructions. If the mannequins are the unofficial supervisors of our night shift, then Linda, our actual night manager, is the cryptic oracle of our Walmart. Her management style? Post-it notes left in increasingly improbable locations, inside the time clock, taped to a frozen turkey, once somehow embedded in a loaf of bread, with instructions that read like warnings from a particularly edgy fortune cookie. The first one I ever found was stuck to the dairy case at 1:37 a.m. Jake, no loud noises after 4. The walls are listening. Now, you might dismiss this as just a woman who failed 3rd grade spelling. But then you hear it. The way the storage room echoes just a second too long after you drop a pallet. How the intercom clicks on randomly when someone says overtime above a whisper. Greg swears when he came in late last Tuesday, all the security monitors were showing empty aisles, except one that definitely showed someone standing where he was currently standing. Then there was last month's masterpiece. Greg, OFF limits to the pallet jack. It's moody today. That's not corporate speak. That's not even English. That's the kind of warning you'd find scratched into the walls of Area 51. Naturally, we ignored it until the pallet jack started refusing to turn right, then developed a habit of rolling toward electrical whenever Greg walked by. Maintenance replaced the wheels. IT checked the batteries. Still happened. Linda just shrugged and posted a new note. Told you. LS, her magnum opus appeared during inventory week on the ceiling above the produce scale. If you hear music from home and garden run, clay pots are not supposed to P.S. Please face soup cans west. We now play a game called Corporate Policy or Linda's Vision. The emergency exit signs that sometimes say FLE instead of exit. Corporate. The time all the store phones rang simultaneously to play a mariachi version of the Walmart jingle? Definitely Linda's department. The employee handbook doesn't cover what to do when your manager leaves a note in the break room fridge saying, "Don't feed the shadow by the baler after moon." But we've all taken to leaving the occasional Slim Jim on the floor just in case. Here's the thing though, as much as we joke, we've learned. 1. Notes in purple ink? probably safe to ignore. 2 notes in red ink. You have approximately 6 minutes. 3 notes that appear already wet when you find them. Call in sick tomorrow. Brenda keeps a binder of them under the customer service desk, organized by creepiness factor. Last count, 147 and growing. Our best theory is that Linda isn't just managing a night shift. She's running damage control for whatever parallel dimension bleeds into our Walmart between 1 and 5 a.m. Her misspelled warnings might be the only thing keeping aisle 13 from expanding, Larry the microwave from achieving consciousness, and whatever lies in the backroom shadows from signing up for the Walmart free trial. Rule 7. The security cameras don't work, but pretend they do. Let's talk about Walmart's greatest illusion, the state-of-the-art security system. Officially, every inch of the store is covered by cameras with signs cheerfully reminding customers to smile. You're on camera. In reality, those crusty little domes haven't actually recorded anything since Bush was president. The monitors in the security office just cycle through the same 12 seconds of 2005 footage, a grainy loop of a teenage employee restocking iPod Nanos, while actual crimes unfold in real time beneath them. Case in point, last Halloween, we caught a shoplifter red-handed trying to stuff an entire pumpkin pie down his pants. Dude panicked, bolted for the exit, and ate absolute floor when he tripped over a pyramid of discounted skeletons we'd staged in seasonal. The aftermath looked like a beginner's crime scene photo. One grown man sprawled across linoleum, pumpkin filling slowly oozing from his waistband, surrounded by grinning plastic skulls. Brenda took one look at the carnage and declared, "Let him go. He's been punished enough by life. Why keep up the charade?" 1. Corporate theater. Store policy demands we pretend the cameras matter, even as spiders take up residence inside their dusty casings. 2. Psychological warfare. Turns out most thieves panic when you say, "Last chance to return that before we check footage," even when everyone knows checking footage means Greg squinting at a frozen Windows 98 error screen. 3. Entertainment value. Nothing bonds a night crew like watching someone attempt to shoplift a patio set at 3 a.m. with zero self-awareness. The unwritten truth. The Real security system? It's the collective memory of Linda, who remembers every face from the past 20 years, Brenda's taser-shaped flashlight, don't ask, and the fact that our most dangerous criminals tend to incapacitate themselves before escaping. Last month, a would-be thief knocked himself unconscious on an automatic door after stealing exactly 1 AA battery. Bottom line, Walmart's actual crime prevention relies on pure hubris, stealing from a store that doesn't pay its employees enough to care. Karma. Inevitably, your left shoe will betray you mid-escape. The skeletons, Halloween or otherwise, those things are everywhere. And honestly, I respect it. Why invest in working tech when fate itself conspires to make shoplifters faceplant into seasonal displays? The universe provides its own justice, and tonight, the universe's tool of choice is apparently a pallet of improperly stacked ketchup bottles. Rule 8. The final rule: you don't quit the night shift. It quits you. If you think you can just waltz out of the night shift at Walmart, think again. This isn't your average job. It's a rite of passage, a test of endurance, and a bizarre initiation into a world where the mundane meets the surreal. Take Greg, for example. He thought he'd hit the jackpot when he got promoted to day shift. 3 days later, he came back to us, eyes wide and hair disheveled, whispering about too much sunlight. Apparently, the bright rays of day were too much for his night owl soul. He claimed he could hear the screams of the daylight shoppers echoing in his mind. Now he's back, stacking cans in the dead of night, where he belongs. Then there's Brenda. She just vanished last Tuesday. 1 minute she was there, arguing with the vending machine about the price of a Snickers, and the next, gone. All that remained was her name tag, left behind on the microwave like a ghostly relic. Linda's note on the break room table read, "Brenda's fine." Probably. It was the kind of reassurance that made you question everything. Did she ascend to a higher plane of existence? Did she finally become one with the microwave? We may never know. The truth is, this job has a way of consuming you. You don't quit the night shift, it quits you. You become part of the fabric of the store, woven into the late-night chaos. You learn to navigate the aisles like a seasoned explorer, dodging the existential crises of customers and the occasional rogue shopping cart. And honestly, I wouldn't trade it for a normal job. Where else can you get paid to argue with a vending machine at 4 a.m.? Where else can you witness the bizarre spectacle of a customer trying to return a used toothbrush while simultaneously discussing the merits of time travel? Every night is an adventure. You bond with your coworkers over shared experiences, like the time we all collectively decided to ignore the ominous humming coming from aisle 13, or the night we held an impromptu seance to summon Brenda back from the microwave dimension. So, as I clock in for another shift, I embrace the chaos. I know the rules, and I've learned to navigate the strange world of the night shift. I've become part of something bigger than myself, a community of misfits, dreamers, and the occasionally bewildered. In the end, it's not just a job, it's a lifestyle. And as I prepare to face another night of bizarre encounters and surreal moments, I can't help but smile. Because in this world of late-night retail, I've found my place. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. So if you ever find yourself wandering the fluorescent-lit aisles of my Walmart at 3 a.m., maybe you're hunting discount frozen pizzas, maybe you're just lost in the existential void, remember 3 things. First, check the mannequins. I don't care if Jeff from menswear was plastic when you walked in. Glance back. Watch their hands. Count them when you leave. Trust me. Second, smile for the cameras anyway. Yeah, they haven't worked since Hollaback Girl topped the charts. But it's about respect. You never know when one might blink to life just to catch you picking your nose near home goods. Most importantly, do not question the microwave. Larry's been here longer than any of us. He's reheated divorces, marriages, and at least one nervous breakdown. You don't ask why your Hot Pocket comes out smelling like regret and industrial cleaner. You say thank you. You eat it under the flickering break room lights, and you move on. This job's a circus, and we're all just clowns in blue vests. But hey, at least we've got health insurance. Probably. Now if you'll excuse me, aisle 13's looking a little too real tonight, and Greg's crying in produce again. Welcome to the graveyard shift. Bring your own donuts. This has been Tales from Walmart Overnight. Clocking out.